Okay, sorry that it's so long. I'm going to really try to blast through. So the other thing that she said, so she was like, I don't care about carbs. The other thing that she said, which I think she's really good at giving me these little like tips, is when I had seen her at 3 months, I was a vegetarian before surgery. It's not my natural inclination to eat a ton of meat. And so I walked her through a few days, and I was eating a lot of cheese, obviously, which is fine, but also soy crisps and, tofu, and just was having a hard time hitting my protein requirements. And she said, I want you to eat meat once a day. And I feel like it's such a simple thing. And she says that the protein from animals is more available to us, post-op patients, and that there haven't been a ton of studies in terms of vegetarianism and gastric bypass. So I had already come to terms with wanting to be a meat eater when I had the surgery. But having her say like once a day was so much easier, just like a concrete little goal for me, than something like, oh, try to eat more meat. Do you know what I mean? So I've been doing that already, which was really helpful. And when I saw her yesterday, looking at my day, and then she, I walked her through one more, she was like, well, the biggest thing here is like vegetables. And she's like, for you to get in 5 servings of fruits and vegetables a day is unrealistic, which I'm like, yeah, like 5 half-cup servings is more food than I eat in a day, or, just about what I eat in a day. She said, so try to get in 1 vegetable a day. And she said to alternate something from the orange group, so carrots, bell peppers, orange bell peppers, that kind of thing, for the beta-carotene. And then the next day have something from the green group, so spinach, broccoli, green beans for the folate, which I know is like a silly little rule, but I was like, oh, okay. Like, I can do that. It's such a, like, concrete thing that's so specific to us instead of, like, 5 fruits and vegetables a day. And the protein now feels like second nature, so I feel like I'm ready to tackle kind of the next part of it. I walked her through my vitamins, which this is totally just if anyone's interested. So I take 2 of these a day. It's a Bariatric Advantage chewable multivitamins, and this is the high ADENK tropical flavor. I think they're really tasty, actually. I am chronically vitamin D deficient, so I'm on these. And then I take like 5 of these a day. These are the ones, I did a review of these before, the Chewy calcium citrate. And I know in my review I was like, oh, they're a little gritty. But then I went back to eating my chalky discs, and I was like, so these are totally tasty. They're 15 calories each, so it is like 60, 70 calories that I'm eating in vitamins. But she was fine with that. She's like, if you are cool with that, that's fine. Whatever gets you to take them consistently. And I feel like I am so much more consistent with these because it's like a little chocolatey, chewy treat. So I'm happy to take them. And then she did ask me if I have had dumping syndrome. And I think I've Twittered about this, but I have not had dumping syndrome. And there's been 2 times in the last 6 months that I've had more sugar than I should have. One, I went to Starbucks totally stupid and got a Frappuccino Light, the caramel one, and was just thinking like, oh, their skinny ones are sugar-free. Therefore, their light ones are sugar-free. And I know the Frappuccino itself is a low-sugar base, but the caramel is they're pumping in that caramel syrup. So after I had it, I felt, I didn't dump, I don't think, or it was like pre-dumping, but I felt really foggy and like, ooh, like I just want to lay down, like groggy, out of it, headachy, but didn't lay down. Like I could keep going. It wasn't anything super painful. It wasn't like my eyes weren't watering. I wasn't having sharp shooting pains anywhere. Looked it up and realized there were 18 grams of sugar in it. And then a few weeks later, maybe a week later, 2 weeks later, I just had a crabby day and had 3 coconut macaroons, which are 6 grams of sugar each, and spaced them out a little bit, but there was no reason to do that, and had kind of the same thing of like super foggy, headachy, just blah. And so I said to her, oh, maybe that's just what normal people feel when they're eating sugar, and they don't feel it as much because they don't eat, they eat sugar every day. It's like, if I've totally cleared the board in terms of sugar, then 18 is like a ton for me. And she was like, no, normal people don't feel that. And she said, it sounds like you don't super dump, but obviously that's something going on with your body not liking it. I am fine with that. Like, when I had the surgery, I would have been fine if I had been a really severe dumper even. because I feel like my Achilles heel was, you know, ice cream. I had ice cream a ton. I haven't had ice cream since I've had the surgery. But now knowing that I can probably sneak up to 15 grams and feel crappy, but not super crappy. I mean, to me, it's kind of a nice place to be. It's like I don't feel ideal, and so I'm going to avoid it. But if there's something phenomenal, special occasion, you know, my wedding, where I want to have something I don't have to worry about being doubled over on the floor, crying in pain, I know that I'll just get probably headachy. And I know, too, that that could change, like, depending on what I'm eating. But for now, I feel like probably that's where I am. Like 15-ish grams is more my limit right now, and I think that'll change the further out I am. But I also don't think my reactions are super severe, which is nice. I also asked her, because you guys know I'm crazy, about basal metabolic rates. And I asked her, you know, does having the surgery or anything about the surgery permanently suppress our BMR? Because it seems like people are maintaining at 1,300 calories or, you know, 1,100 calories, some people. And that seems lower to me than what women, you know, BMRs are, which I think, you know, are anywhere from 1,500 to 2,000, depending on muscle and activity and age and blah, blah, blah. And she said, well, there are a few things. It's like the first thing is you are lucky to live in New York because you walk more than anyone else, you know, in the world probably, without even realizing it. And that's true. Like, I probably walk a mile a day just from my apartment to the train to the office to lunch. Like, I don't own a car. Walking is what I do. I walk to the gym, I walk back, I walk to get a coffee, I walk back. She's like, so that totally helps. She says, you're younger than, you know, most patients who have the surgery. That will help. She said, but the big answer is no. She said, you know, in the 50s, they did studies where they starved patients, and obviously you can't do this research anymore, but they starved patients and tested their basal metabolic rate, and then they started feeding them again, and all of them recovered to a normal basal metabolic rate. And she said right now, like literally right now, when I'm eating 1,100 calories a day on average, my BMR probably is a little bit suppressed. You know, it's the starvation mode that all dieters talk about. She said, but once you are increasing your calories because you're maintaining, your BMR rebounds. And obviously, you know, putting on muscle helps boost the BMR. You know, things like age, obviously you can't do anything about. She said, but, you know, there's nothing you can do, like literally nothing you can do to permanently suppress the BMR, no matter how long you're, you know, starving yourself or on a low-calorie diet or eating less than you know, would be, whatever. Once you start eating normally again, it rebounds, you know, once you're maintaining. So that was really exciting. Then I shifted over. I'm taking a little look here. Then I shifted over and I saw my surgeon, and they had me get on one of their pretty accurate scales to test my BMR. So let me tell you. So she said this, you know, the surgeon's assistant said this is plus or minus 100, but that my BMR is 1,670 calories. So I was like, oh my God, thank God. I don't know why I was worried it would be like 900 or something like that. But, you know, even if it's plus or minus, so even if it's 1,500, you know, I'm eating 1,100, so I have 400 calorie deficit a day right now, and then I'm working out a few hundred calories a day. So that to me is really, really exciting. The other things are, they just told me, you know, my BMI used to be 46.8, and it's now 30.5, so I'm only about 5 pounds away being overweight. My blood pressure, let me see if it's on here. My blood pressure used to be 139/97, and now it is 122/70. My resting heart rate is 59, which she said is really, really good, so that was exciting. I used to be 51% fat, more than half fat, and now I'm 36.7% fat, which still sounds horrifying in a way, but it's so much lower. I'm trying to see. I know I'm like already creeping up on time and stuff. I think that is it. So obviously super less fat. I mean, that was the cool thing too, like seeing that it's not just oh, I can do more things and I look better, but like the health stuff, like my resting heart rate is in a healthy range for the first time. It's the first time I've seen them where I haven't had high blood pressure. So that's just really exciting. Okay, I'm totally over and I have to go, and I will talk to you guys soon. Sorry this is so long and so late. Bye!